I still remember that night like a wound that never truly healed. It was a Friday, one of those calm evenings when all you want is rest after a long week. The air smelled faintly of rain, and our small apartment hummed with the rhythm of the city beyond the walls. She stood by the mirror, adjusting her hair, that familiar, carefree smile on her lips. Just dinner. With the girls, she said, eyes flicking to her phone more often than to me. I won't be long. I smiled, or at least tried to, replying, take as long as you want. I'll be gone when you're back. She laughed, assuming I was teasing, but I wasn't. For months, I'd sensed something slipping away. The warm greetings at the door had vanished into silence. Our dinner talks had been replaced by the quiet tapping of her phone. I told myself it was stress, work, maybe just a rough patch. But deep down, I already knew love doesn't vanish by mistake. We'd been together 6 years, married for 4. I wasn't perfect, but I gave what I could. I worked hard. I listened. I planned little things to make her smile. But every effort began to feel like throwing pebbles into an empty well. No echo, no warmth, just hollow distance. It crept in like fog, invisible until it was too thick to breathe. That Friday, something inside me shifted. Not from anger, but from understanding. It felt like realizing the home you'd been repairing all this time was built on someone else's land. When the door closed behind her, I stood still, listening to the echo of her heels fade down the hallway. Then I walked into the bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed. Her perfume lingered, sweet and sharp, a reminder of how temporary everything had become. I opened the drawer and took out a small box, the one holding the note she'd written on our wedding day. Forever starts today, it said in her neat, hopeful handwriting. I stared at it for a long moment before folding it gently and slipping it into my jacket pocket. Forever had ended quietly, no betrayal, no explosion, just silence that grew too loud. I began packing. Not everything, just enough to start again. My laptop, some clothes, the framed photo of my parents. Each item felt heavier than memory should. The sound of the zipper closing. My bag was like the final line of a sentence I'd been too afraid to finish. By midnight, I was done. I walked through the apartment one last time, turning off lights, closing drawers, folding the blanket she always said I never folded. Right. For the first time in months, I felt calm, the kind of peace that comes when you finally stop trying to revive what's long been gone. On the kitchen counter, I left a note. Nothing poetic, nothing bitter. Just 5 words. You were right. I'm gone. I placed my keys beside it, took one final look around, and walked out. The night air bit colder than I'd expected. I stood by my car, staring up at the building that used to feel like home. It didn't anymore. It looked like a stranger's window glowing with someone else's life. As I drove away, I felt no anger, just relief. Maybe that's how real endings happen, not with shouting or tears, but with a quiet exhale and the soft hum of tires rolling toward something new. For the first time in years, I didn't check my phone. I didn't need to. I already knew what message would come, and that I wouldn't be there to read it. By the time she returned, dawn had begun to bloom outside. The city was quiet, pale lights spilling through the blinds. The only sound was the click of the unlocking door. She stepped inside, heels in hand, laughter still hanging on her face from wherever she'd been. It took a moment for her to notice the stillness, the kind that doesn't belong to two people anymore. No TV hum, no half-filled mug, no jacket on the hook. Eli, she called softly. Her voice echoed back, thinner, emptier. Then she saw the note, folded neatly beside her.
Keys.
She smiled at first, expecting something playful. But when she opened it, her smile fell. You were right.
I'm gone.
At first, she didn't believe it. She ran to the bedroom, empty. Closet half bare. His toothbrush missing. His scent fading. The truth settled around her like dust. And morning light, quiet, heavy, real. She sat on the bed, staring at the space where he used to sleep. That's the thing about silence. It's only beautiful when it's shared. Alone it screams. I wasn't there to see her reaction, but I could imagine it, not because I wanted to, but because that's what memory does. When it still cares, it fills the emptiness with what-ifs. I checked into a small roadside motel an hour away. The room smelled like air, freshener and cigarettes, but I didn't
mind.
I lay there, staring at the ceiling, replaying our years together. Like worn film reels, each smile, each fight, each promise I believed would fix everything. That night, I understood something. Love doesn't die in flames. It decays in the quiet moments we ignore. A missed call, a distracted look, a broken promise.
Then,
one day, you wake up next to a stranger you once called home. Around 6, my phone buzzed her name. Lit the screen. I watched it ring, then die, then ring again. Finally, a message. Where are you? What does this mean? I typed and erased replies before. Settling on one. It means you don't have to pretend anymore. Hours passed. Then, around noon, please.
Come home.
We can talk. I stared at the words and felt nothing. The version of me that would have run back was gone, buried under years of quiet neglect. This wasn't revenge.
It
was self-respect finally waking up. I stayed there for days, working remotely, drinking too much coffee, sleeping too little. At night, I scrolled through old photos, her smile pressed against my shoulder, the way she once looked at me, like I was enough. I wondered when that look disappeared, probably long before I noticed. On the 4th day, I drove back not to reconcile but to collect what was left. She was waiting in the doorway, eyes puffy, makeup smeared. You really meant it, she whispered. I did, I answered. She stepped closer. Can we fix this? I looked at her, truly looked the same. Woman I'd loved, yet entirely changed. The distance between us wasn't measured in steps anymore, but in years of things we never said. I think we stopped trying a long time ago, I said. You just didn't notice. When I gave up. She broke down, hands covering her face. For a second, I almost reached out.
But
then I remembered how many times I'd done that before, and how nothing ever
changed.
So I lifted my bag, walked to the door and paused. Take care of yourself, I said softly. And next time, don't wait until someone leaves to realize they were going. This time, she didn't follow. Outside, the sky burned orange, the kind of sunset that feels like an ending and a beginning all at once. I got in my car and drove, nowhere specific, just forward. People think closure comes from talks and apologies. But sometimes it's the quiet moment you stop waiting for.
Either.
That night in a new town under a new sky, I sat by the window, phone face down, silence settling like peace. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like half of something broken. I felt whole, not because she was gone, but because I finally was.